Okay, everybody come on. Relax. Here we go.
Okay.
It's take two.
Yes, take two. Okay. Hi guys, my name is Scott Farmer, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the Hudson Valley today.
Hi guys.
Hi. Hi, Scott Farmer.
Hi, Dad Farmer.
Hi.
Hi, Daddy. Daddy.
It's a place I have lived all my life, and although I didn't appreciate it growing up, I love all that this beautiful area has to offer. I want to show you guys some of what makes the area great and interesting, and although a full tour will take too long, I would like to guide you through a very quick peek of the area's history and influential figures. On this short guide, I will share some facts about three distinct periods of the Hudson Valley: the Native Americans, the Revolutionary War, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The first point I want to talk to you guys about is the Native American Indians that lived in the area. Archaeological evidence points to the fact that Native Americans lived in the Hudson Valley over 10,000 years ago. And one of the more well-known tribes in the Hudson Valley would be the Wappingers Indians. The Wappingers Indians, you can see on the map here, lived right on the east bank of the Hudson River, south of present-day Poughkeepsie. The Wappingers Indians were part of the Algonquin Confederacy, which is a loose nation of Indian tribes that spanned from Albany, New York, all the way down to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, the connecting thing in the Algonquin Confederacy was the fact that they all spoke a common language known as Munsee, which is an Eastern Algonquin language. And it wasn't until the arrival of the Dutch in this area in the 1600s that their culture and history started to erode away from the influences of the Europeans. In 1609, Henry Hudson, whose name has been immortalized in the naming of the Hudson River, was the first European explorer to travel in the Hudson River Valley. At that time, he encountered the Wappingers Indians and many of the other Indian tribes that populated the area. Henry Hudson was traveling, trying to find the Northwest Passage, which was the mythical route that the Europeans thought would find their way to China and to the riches. Little did they know that they were actually traveling at a vast continent nowhere near China. The Native Americans in this area were definitely associated with the Revolutionary War. They provided assistance to the Americans as well as the British. Many of the different Native American tribes in the area had loyalties to both sides, figuring with their own internal interests. One of the Native Americans' name that was part of the Revolutionary War is Daniel Needham. Here is his plaque and his statue, and he died at the Battle of Kingsbridge, in August 31st, 1778. And that brings me to the next step in this presentation, which is about the Revolutionary War and the Hudson Valley's influence on that war. And one of the battles, one of many that were fought in the Hudson Valley, is the battle for Fort Montgomery, which was in September 1777. Fort Montgomery is found just north of West Point on the eastern side of the Hudson River. Its banks help protect the Hudson River from anybody traveling further northward. It was a strategic location for the Americans for protection and a vital area of defense. So again, in September 1777, the British attacked in hopes of splitting the American forces in two and gaining access to the Hudson River. The British were successful in taking the fort, and the Americans lost more than half their soldiers in the fighting. The British were then able to dismantle a chain that the Americans put across the river at West Point. This chain was a defensive barrier that helped stop or slow British ships from traveling further northward in the river. Now, due to miscommunications between the British leadership, the Americans were able to drive the British out of the fort the following month. The British, however, did burn the fort down before they were forced out, so sadly there's not too much left as far as ruins for us to see now. Now, going forward in history, I just wanted to touch on Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He is another big figure in the Hudson Valley. His home is in Hyde Park, New York, just a few miles from the house that I've lived all my life. He was 32nd President of the United States, and his leadership brought the country through two of the greatest events in American and world history, the Great Depression and World War II. Much can be seen at his residence and museum in Hyde Park, and I strongly encourage anybody who's in the area to give it a visit. Now, in conclusion, from FDR back through time, perhaps even before recorded history, the Hudson Valley has been home to many different peoples and backdrop to many important events, such as the Native American Indians and their influence in the area, the Revolutionary War and all the history that goes with the Hudson Valley and the influence it had on the war, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt's birthplace, a place that he really loved and called home. The Hudson Valley is home to a long and rich history with places and events and people who have helped shape our country into what it is today. And I hope to have piqued your interest in learning more about this beautiful area. Thank you.
Welcome.